Awesome. Welcome everyone to our webinar today. I have some amazing guests. Jamie, do you still want to keep your camera on?
I'll join the conversation.
Awesome. Love it, love it, love
I'll
it.
let Ashley Fox do the majority of the talking, but
Okay,
that's so
awesome.
great. I love that. Oh, I'll do that.
All right, I'm Patricia Mejia. I'm the CMO at GoTab. Your host today, but I'm just so excited about the ladies that we have featured today. Our honored guest is Ashley Howe, Ashley Meyer Howe from FarmCraft Brewery. Ashley?
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Jamie and Ashley, you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Ashley Fox with Harvest Hosts. We are so excited to be here today and get to hear a little bit more about Ashley's location.
Awesome. And Jamie?
Yes. Hello, good morning. I'm also with Harvest Hosts and I'm excited to be here.
Cool. Well, I think we could probably just kick it off. And Ashley, this is really about the FarmCraft story. So could you kind of give us kind of a background, origin story, all that on FarmCraft?
Sure thing. So FarmCraft Brewery is located in Strikersville, New York, in Western New York. We are a full farm brewery, tap room, and event space. Our FarmCraft sits on 10 full acres, but our family property is 320 acres of the rolling hills of Wyoming County. We are a 11,000 square foot building, two-story building. We have a tap room. We have two private event spaces. We have a giant outdoor space. We have fields full of sunflowers and herbs and vegetables and things we grow that we use inside of the brewery, and a very large space to host all of our Harvest Host campers that join us.
Very cool. And so on any given day, how many guests do you generally have and are serving throughout the entire property?
Oh, that's a great question. I've never been asked that. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
A Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday, very, very busy. So we're closed Mondays and Tuesdays, open Wednesday through Sundays. We host live music on Friday evenings, which we have a
Wow.
giant crowd. On Sundays, we host a farmers market. So we have 20 to 30 vendors that set up every Sunday inside our one part of our brewery, and then we also do vendors outside every Sunday. And so we welcome the community in for shopping for their local produce and sourdough bread, and then also enjoying a beer and some food with us.
Man, that sounds amazing. And when did you open?
So we opened in November of 2025. So we're just coming up on being open for just a year.
So 24.
24, yeah, sorry.
Yes.
November
Oh my.
2024. Yeah, so this upcoming November we'll be open for a full year.
Well, I'm so excited to learn more about your story, but before we go on, can we talk about how you connected with Harvest Host?
Sure. So we host a lot of events, and we were hosting a bridal shower pretty early on last winter, like December time. And there was a gentleman there, and he was like, "This building's amazing. Like, you guys are new." I'm like, "Yeah, we're so excited." He's like, "Have you ever heard of this Harvest Host?" And I was like, "I haven't. Fill me in." And so he went on to tell me that him and his wife were Harvest Host members and how they drive around finding different wineries and breweries and staying. He's like, "And you should look into it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna add this to my to-do list of 9 million things." But I was like, "Okay, cool." And so I did, and that's how I found Harvest Host. And then we became members. I think I'm not sure exactly remember, but right around spring is when we first started having our first Harvest Host guests.
Right ahead of
Awesome.
travel season, which is great.
Yeah.
So Ashley, tell everybody what Harvest Host is.
Yeah, so Harvest Host is a unique RV membership program. We partner with super cool locations like Ashley, your location. We also partner with farms, wineries, breweries, distilleries, all across North America. And they allow RVers to stay on their property overnight. Typically, it's just one night. And in exchange for providing a safe place for those RVers, they patronize the business that they're staying overnight with. So, grabbing a super cool, grabbing a beer at a super cool location, getting to connect with locals, which actually sounds like, I mean, your location just seems like a community hub, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm assuming that was part of the vision, Ashley, but could you talk more about like what that means for Harvest for FarmCraft, like being a hub in the community? What does that mean? The farmers market sounds amazing, but I can imagine there's other benefits of that.
Yeah, so where we are located in a very rural area, but we are on a very high traffic area that services Niagara Falls, Buffalo, New York City, New Jersey, Toronto. So we get a lot of throwaway traffic right on our stop. So we get a lot of travelers that are coming from all over. We get a lot of Canadian travel. We're only about 30 minutes from the Canadian border, and a lot of local traffic. So we've also found through Harvest Host a lot of local members that live like within 30 minutes of the brewery, but just love to come have a drink, park their RV for the night, and then walk back out after they've had a couple of drinks and spend the night in our parking lot. So it's like a beautiful, and those members are fun. Those Harvest Host members are fun because we feel like we've got to know them this past summer because they've come frequently. And then I love hearing the stories of all of the members that are traveling through, and they're like, oh, we're just on our way to, wherever they're headed or their destinations they've come from, to learn their story too, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't realize that you service people that are going to Niagara Falls. That's like one of my lifelong dreams to go to Niagara. You believe it or not, I live in Virginia and I've never been to Niagara Falls. I have got to get there and I've got to come to FarmCraft Brewery now that I've heard about you being so close to that location. So then let's shift into your GoTab story. And before I do that though, I'm going to give you real compliments to be in a first year and have so much success is amazing. This is not a common story. So I'll just hats off to you guys for what you're able to do. It's really, really cool.
Oh, well,
Um,
thanks.
but yeah, but let's shift into your GoTab story. How are you, how did you learn about GoTab and, what was the story in bringing GoTab on?
Yeah, so we have, my husband and I love to travel. We have two small children, and everywhere we travel, we always stop at breweries. And we also own a beer store as well. So we've had a beer store for 13 years in Western New York, in another small town close to FarmCraft. And so we travel for beer a lot, and we always stop at breweries with our kids. And so we were at a brewery in like the middle of New York State, and we like walked into the brewery, and they had this like system. They were like, "Oh, there's a QR code on your table. You guys can just sit wherever you want, order whatever you want." And my husband who like loves like the freedom of choice and like a time to like have a chance to look at things before we made a selection, and there's not a server there at your table like aggressively asking for your order right away. It's like, this is great. He's like, when we open the brewery, I want to use this system. I was like, okay, well, we have to like find out what the system is. And then we found out it was GoTab, looked into it, had a couple of meetings, and now we love it.
Awesome. All right, so I love this story because it's almost like the perfect match of with Harvest Hosts and GoTab because it's both about giving you choices and like the freedom to kind of do what you want to do. So when you think about your service model at FarmCraft, talk about how you run your service and how these two platforms kind of help you deliver that freedom and flexibility to your guests.
Yeah, so our tap room is run like a little different than like a typical restaurant. So we have signage when guests walk in, so they can people that are new can kind of get the feel of what we have. So we have 11,000 square feet. So we have a huge giant tap room with over 20 tables, and then we have a giant patio that's another 3,000 square feet, and then we have a mezzanine which is another 2,000 square feet. So it's a very large space and building that gets full of humans. And so our GoTab system is amazing because people can order from out at table 8, which is, 500 feet from the bar and the kitchen, where a server is going to take quite a bit of time to get there, but they can place their order. It zings right into our kitchen. Their drinks go right to our bar, and then their food gets run by a food runner, and they have quick, great service and gives them the freedom of taking some time to scroll on their phone to check their menus. Or we also do have paper menus, and then people can still use the QR code because some people do like to read off a paper menu. But the convenience of not having to be, you know, waited on or waited for
Yeah.
is what people I think really love.
Nice. Ashley and Jamie, jump in here. I know I'm doing a lot of talking, and I do if you have any questions.
I mean, I'm loving, I mean, Ashley, it's just incredible to see what you guys have built. And I mean, such a short amount of time, as Patricia was saying earlier, I feel like, obviously that first year, there's a lot of learnings and things like that. And obviously you found, technology that is really benefiting kind of your operations. I'm kind of curious, like, can you talk about some of those learnings, right? Like, what have you really learned, what specifically when it comes to technology, what is working, what isn't working? So maybe other breweries can learn as well.
Yeah, so and I do have the experience. So our other location that we have a different POS system that we had before. We've had for 13 years, so it was kind of before we knew about GoTab. And so now we've just converted our other business over to GoTab because we think it's just such a wonderful program. And I just have a cute little story. So yesterday in the tap room, it was kind of a busy afternoon. This older couple walks in, and like in regards to like technology, like generational, like the younger generation, they all have smartphones and they can use the technology quite efficiently and quickly. And so often when older couples walk in, I offer the paper menus and I say like, oh, I can come over with the tablet to your table and take your order. And this older couple, the lady I was kind of busy at the bar. I saw her with her phone. I saw her scan a QR code. I was like, okay, this is like optimism. Like she's going to get this. And so then I just like popped over and I was like, oh, how's everyone doing over here? And she's like, I think we got it. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And so she's showing me her phone and she's like, okay, I think I did it. Like, so this is everything that we've ordered. And I was like, yep. And she goes, well, I don't have Apple Pay. And I was like, okay, that's okay. You can just click right here and put in another card. And she was like, okay. And then she was so proud of herself. So she hit the black button to submit order. And I was like, girl, you did it. And I was like, and then I heard the dings because all of our tablets, like the ding goes off when it goes to the kitchen and to the bar. And I was like, well, your drinks and your food will be right out at your table. And so like, I think the model of how like easy it is, clearly she wasn't that confident, but she was like, I'm going to give this a shot. And then it was sweet. She followed up with, well, I'm going to let my daughter know that I did this all by myself.
Oh, that's so cool.
I was like, so I think GoTab is such an easy platform that, it really is for all generations. The younger kids, I think, love it. Like the Gen Zers, Gen X, whatever letters we're in, girls. Not my generation, right? Us millennials also love it. But that they love to be on their phone and they love the fact that they can like scroll and see everything. And the way that GoTab is set up, and I love like as having it as the backside of it to be able to take and remove items when we run out of a beer or when we have to 86 a food item on a busy Friday night, how easy it is to remove it from the GoTab system. And then it goes out to everyone.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, it is so flawless and easy. And we've been running GoTab for 11 months at this point, and I can honestly say we've never had an issue that couldn't be resolved in a very short amount of time. Like the back end of GoTab and the resources are very, very efficient, and it's and there's always updates. And so like I feel like GoTab's constantly working on improving their platform. Not that it needs any improvements, but there's little things that they've twerked and added. And it's, as soon as you open the app, it says like, oh, update, and you can snooze it or dismiss it or read it then. And so it's really been a beautiful platform for us.
That's awesome. So let's talk about your guests. I'm going to ask you a question I didn't ask before, so this might come across as kind of a surprise, but it might be easy for you. Talk to us about the most unique Harvest Host guest you've had. Do you have a unique guest story?
Oh, there's so many good ones. Okay, can I do a couple? I'll do them short though.
Yeah.
The one family came from Montreal this summer time, and it was a family of 4. They had 2 little girls. They only spoke French. The dad spoke English, sort of like we could communicate with dad. And they were traveling from Montreal to Seattle, Washington. So like they were dipping down into the States and then cutting across to the West, the top of the United States. And they were just so grateful for everything. And the father, what he did say on their day when they were leaving, he was like, well, when we embarked on this Harvest Host journey, so they were new Harvest Host members. They had just gotten their membership for this trip. And so they had never, and they had also, their RV was new too. So they were new to RVing, new to Harvest Hosting. And they had said to us, like, when we bought our Harvest Host membership, we were just excited that we would find at least one really awesome place on our journey. And he's like, and you're our first stop, and we already found it. And I was like, well, I am sure you are in for many more amazing stops. But so they were just like a really cool like vibe and fun couple. And then
I have to ask you, did they order off GoTab?
They did order off GoTab.
Awesome.
Because you can put it in, like they screenshotted our menu and translated it on Google Translator,
Amazing.
like our paper menu, and then they were able to like match it up and order.
And it worked awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I also didn't ask you that question in advance, so I didn't know what you're going to say. I'm glad.
Yeah, because I was we were trying to like visually help them, like when there is a language barrier, like help by showing, because they could see the things. But the dad was more fluent than I'm giving him credit for. Like he was, but he wasn't fully bilingual, but he had a good grasp of English as well. And I have very little grasp of French, so I was not as helpful as he was.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so tell me about the next story.
Another guy was a guy named John, and John had recently just lost his wife to cancer. So like sad story. So he sold their house because he didn't want to live the memories without her, bought an RV and a pickup truck, and he was just traveling the whole country. But his mission was to visit as many art galleries as he could. So he started like in Maine. And so like we were like the dip down. He was also heading out to the West Coast. And so when he stayed with us for a couple of days, and in Buffalo, there's a bunch of really beautiful art museums, a great pop culture, modern art museum called the Albright Knox Gallery that he visited, and the Birchfield Penny, which is also in Buffalo. And so he was just like a fun, quirky guy, and he stayed for a couple of days. So he'd come in for lunch, and then he would go out to a museum and come back for dinner. And it was just like a cool story. So a sad story, but like
Yeah.
he was like happy to be living his new part of life without his wife in his RV harvest hosting across the country.
Yeah, and it was almost like you guys were family because he had a place to come back to, which is
Yeah,
really nice when you're traveling. So
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Ashley, Jamie, any other questions on your end?
I think that was a really great story. And I love how he kept coming back for different meals. Have you had a lot of repeat customers from Harvest Host that maybe have swung back on their travels?
Um, not so many that are like traveling along, and that I can really. Honestly, Jamie, we've had so many Harvest Host members, and we have so many regular members.
It's hard to keep
Guests that
track.
come in, so like keeping track is difficult. But like the ones that are local that have come back, like on Friday nights for live music, and then use their Harvest Host to stay with us. Those ones, those ones we've gotten to know better, like the more like local ones that have repeat
Yeah.
customer to us.
That's great.
That's actually just an amazing idea. Like if you just wanted to go out for a night and have like a safe evening, enjoying, drinks, and then you could just go sit in your art. That's awesome. I never even
Yeah.
thought about that.
So the one couple that we have, they have two college students who were like home from May until August. And so they always joked like, we just need a night away. And this is the only way we can get a night away. And I was like,
Very
well,
I
you
had to
just
drive
come
up to Buffalo
anytime,
myself
Donna.
to have a night away.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Or use that at
Um,
our marketing campaigns. You
We're
can use
going
it
to.
for a date night.
Just like a date night.
Yeah.
Just Harvest Host at your local brewery.
All right. So, what advice do you have for? Okay, I have a couple more questions, but I want to go through one of the questions that we talked about. What advice do you have for other breweries that are considering becoming a part of the Harvest Host network?
There's no negative drawback. There's really no reason to not become a member. Everyone that we've interacted with has been so pleasant, so polite, so kind. They all want to be a good guest. So they all come in, they bring business to your business that you might not necessarily already have. A lot of people can find you. It's another strategy that you're not, as a brewery, not paying for any sort of marketing to have your name on Harvest Host. And then you get new clientele that then spread the word to other clientele. So there's really, if you have the space, if you have a parking lot, bring them in.
Very cool. Now, my last question has to do with how in the world were you able to launch with so much visibility? Like, what was your marketing plan to get so many people to come in so quickly?
For Harvest Host or for FarmCraft or
For FarmCraft, yeah, yeah.
Patricia, it's just luck. It's just luck and location.
Okay, location is important.
Yeah, location is very important. So really just being family friendly. I taught kindergarten for 17 years of my life. So children and families are really important to me. And I think the brewery model, a lot of breweries just open up and think like, okay, if we serve good beer, people will come, but they won't keep coming back. They'll come one time. You have to draw them back in. So we have a ton of events and music. We do a lot of community events. We're hosting an art show. We have a book club that meets once a month. We have a craft and stitch club that comes out. So I think the more opportunities and things that you have for people to come back and join you and be present, and also customer service is imperative. We are very fortunate to have a beautiful staff that remembers our locals and remembers their stories. People want a place to touch home with. They love when you know their beer. When they come in, you're like, having the Pilsner today, John? Because
Yeah,
people in 2025 want a community and a space to be connected to. And
yeah,
so breweries have that opportunity. So providing impeccable customer service is imperative in anything really, just being a good human being, making
yeah.
connections with people and remembering their stories.
Oh, that's amazing. I think that covers all of the questions that I have. Ashley, Jamie, any final questions or comments?
No, I think this has been so incredible. It's just amazing to see what, you and your team have done just within such a short amount of time. It just seems like, your brewery is just a pillar of the community. And,
Yeah.
we're grateful that, you've chosen, these two kind of tech platforms that get to be a part of your story. So it's just incredible hearing from you. And I know there's only good things ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm just so grateful. I think your story is amazing. I think a lot of our operators could learn a lot from, just what you've done and what you've been able to accomplish. And obviously, I really enjoy your spirit as well. So thank you very much for taking the time to do this.
Thanks for having me, girls.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You guys too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.